That same night, while Musa slept, Fatima cast a spell on her son. Once upon a time, in a small village called Afia, there lived a beautiful and kind woman named Salima. Salima's beauty and grace captivated many men. Many suitors sought her hand in marriage, but she refused their advances. Her primary reason for rejecting these men was her fear of marrying the wrong man and being mistreated. To avoid this, she turned down numerous suitors who didn't meet her standards. By the age of 31, Salima remained unmarried and childless. Her mother, growing impatient, urged her to marry any suitable suitor. However, Salima dismissed her mother's advice, insisting she hadn't found the right man. Unlike her friends in the village, who were married with children, Salima remained single, which led the villagers to mock her whenever she passed by the village square. Some even called her evil-spirited. Despite the ridicule, Salima maintained her dignity and grace. One day, while walking to the market along a bushy path, Salima was bitten by a snake on her left foot. She fell to the ground, crying out for help, but no one heard her. Fortunately, a handsome man named Musa, who was passing by, saw Salima lying on the ground. He rushed to help her, and upon learning she had been bitten by a snake, he carried her to the village herbalist. The herbalist treated her, and she fell asleep during the treatment. When Salima awoke, she found Musa watching over her. Grateful for his help, she immediately fell in love with him, and Musa reciprocated her feelings. It was love at first sight. Musa, deeply in love, proposed to Salima, and she eagerly accepted. After their wedding, Salima moved into Musa's house, and they lived happily as husband and wife. Their peaceful life was disrupted when Musa's mother, Fatima, visited them uninvited. Known for her troublesome and arrogant nature, Fatima was feared for her powers and love of black magic, granted to her by the river goddess of Afia village. Salima welcomed her mother-in-law warmly and served her food. However, Fatima, pretending to be nice, later complained to Musa about the food, claiming it was tasteless and diluted. Musa, familiar with his mother's ways, did not take her complaints seriously. Fatima began making Salima's life unbearable, constantly nagging and finding faults. Despite this, Salima, being kind and dutiful, tried to please her mother-in-law by performing various chores. Yet, Fatima was never satisfied, and Salima found herself becoming a maid in her own home, with no peace. Every morning, after Musa left for work, Fatima would send Salima on numerous errands. One day, Salima confided in Musa about her suffering. Musa, upset, confronted his mother, asking her to stop mistreating Salima. Angered by Salima's complaint, Fatima threatened to deal with her. That night, she cast a spell on Musa, making him unresponsive to her misdeeds. Under the spell, Musa ignored his wife's suffering. Fatima turned Salima into a full-time maid, and Salima endured the torment, unaware of the spell on her husband. When Salima discovered she was pregnant, she was overjoyed and asked Musa not to inform his mother. Despite her pregnancy, the torment continued, and Salima grew weaker. Deciding to leave, she told Musa she would stay at her mother's home until the baby was born. Unbeknownst to them, Fatima overheard their conversation and plotted to prevent Salima from leaving. Fatima added a substance to Salima's food, causing her to sleep deeply and delaying her departure. When Salima awoke late at night, she realized something had been added to her food. Angered, she confronted Fatima, who was shocked at Salima's boldness. Furious, Fatima cast another spell on Musa, making him obey her commands. She ordered him to stop supporting Salima, hoping to starve her. Salima struggled to survive, doing manual jobs to buy food and baby supplies. Surprised by Salima's resilience, Fatima cast a spell on her pregnancy to prevent it from reaching full term. Despite her efforts, Salima's pregnancy reached its due date, but she couldn't go into labor. Fatima mocked her, and Musa, still under the spell, remained indifferent. Fatima brought another woman, Oni, for Musa to marry, and sent the pregnant Salima away. Salima returned to her mother's home, where she recounted her ordeal. Her mother, distressed, took care of her. At the 18th month of her pregnancy, Salima fell ill. The herbalist revealed that Salima's pregnancy was under a spell and suggested bathing in the Afai River to break it. After the bath, Salima's health improved, and she went into labor, giving birth to a baby boy after 6 hours. Meanwhile, back at Musa's home, Fatima's new daughter-in-law, Oni, resisted her mistreatment. Unknown to Fatima, Oni had powerful magical abilities from her father. When Fatima tried to poison Oni, Oni swapped the poisoned soup with Fatima's. Fatima ate the poisoned soup and died. With Fatima's death, the spell on Musa lifted. Realizing his mistake, Musa sought forgiveness from Salima. Overjoyed to find she had given birth, he begged for her forgiveness, explaining the spell's influence. Salima, kind-hearted, forgave Musa, and they returned to their home with their son. Despite Fatima's death, they mourned her loss. Finally, Salima, Musa, and their son lived happily as a family. The moral of this story is to never harm others, as our actions have a way of returning to us. Be kind and good to others,